We look now at our worksheet, which shows a column for the x variable and the other column for values of the y variable. Take note that the x variable is our independent variable, while the y variable is our dependent variable. So to do our regression on our table of values, we click the Data tab, look for the Data Analysis icon, which can be found at the far right side of the panel. So we click Data Analysis, and then a pop-up window will appear where multiple analysis tools can be found. The one that is useful to us at this exercise is the regression tool, so we highlight that. And so highlighting that, we now press the OK button, and another pop-up window will appear. In the first slot of the window, we try to include all of the values for our dependent variable y, and we do that by highlighting the column of the y values. And so it automatically appears in the slot for the input y range. Similarly, the values of the independent variable x will automatically appear in the slot for the input x range once I highlight the column for the x variables. Now, since the first row of our table of values contain the names of the variables, I also put a check mark on the squares for labels. Now, the last thing I need to do is to specify the location of our summary output, and I can do that by clicking the output range, clicking the slot for it, and specifying the upper left-hand corner of our summary output, which can be any cell in our worksheet. But for our purpose, I will just choose the cell A8 to be the upper left-hand corner of our summary output. And so with that, we now press OK, and we have the summary output for our regression. Now, the important result to us is the regression model for our table of values, which is given by y equal to negative 1.02803 x plus 16.52746, and that can be seen from the third part of the summary output under the coefficient heading for intercept and the x row. And the next question is, how good a regression model do we actually have? Well, this is actually a very good regression model, because looking at the first part of our regression statistics, we see that r squared has a value of 0.938969, which basically says that the x variable explains approximately 93.9% of the variation in the values of the dependent variable y. And this is actually confirmed by the fact that if we look at the second part of the summary output, which is the ANOVA part, or the analysis of variance, we will notice that the significance f value is given by the value 0.0065225. If you will try to recall, every time you look at the ANOVA part of the summary output, what we're actually doing is we are carrying out hypothesis testing, where the null hypothesis states that the slope of our regression model, beta 1, is equal to 0, which is equivalent to saying that there is no linear relationship between x and y. And on the other hand, we have the alternative or the alternate hypothesis, which says that beta 1, which is the slope of the regression model, is not equal to 0. And so if we wish to um, prove that there is some kind of linear relationship between x and y, then we will have to be able to reject the null hypothesis and accept the alternate hypothesis. In this case, the significance f actually gives the p-value for the test. And in this case, it's equal to 0.00652.025. And if we are going to compare this with the standard setting for our level of significance, which is normally 5%. So let me just indicate this quickly here that we are using a 5% significance level. Then we conclude that we reject the null hypothesis and accept the alternate hypothesis, which also tells us that there is a linear relationship between x and y. And again, that is actually a confirmation of what we have already seen from the first part of our summary output when we looked at the R square. And just for curiosity's sake, if we want to actually have an idea as to how the regression model looks like, then what we can do is we can highlight the original table of values, click Insert, select the charts icon, and choose the original or the standard format for the scatter plot, so that now we can view the scatter plot for our table of values. And to be able to see the line of best fit or our regression model, all we have to do is to click the square with the positive sign and put a check mark on the trend line. And our line of best fit or our regression model will be represented by the blue colored line.